Beautiful. All right, the recorder's going. Got that going. So here comes Forrest. It's Forrest. Howdy. Happy Wednesday, Forrest. Daryl. Dun, 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 dun. All right, I think we have a quorum of 6 here today. Plus me, that's 7. Look at that. Okay, Dennis is still out for the rest of the month at least, and I'm going to check with him toward the end of the month, see what's going on, if he's coming back or if he's still reassigned to a different project at this point. He wasn't sure how long that was going to go, but it was definitely going to be the month of April. So without his leadership and all the work he was doing to drive us, the only thing we have left that I've got on the table here is the introduction to OCA Word document. And I know some of you have commented it. Have all of you had a chance to look at it yet?
I have not looked at the latest draft.
All right, cool.
I looked at a previous draft, but it's been a bit since I looked at it.
All right, let me pop it in the chat here just in case. So there's been some updates, which is awesome. Let me find the chat. There it is. Chat, put it in there. I think that's the link. It's in the chat. So I've got a lot of folks put it in here. Good section of information. So the thought I had on building this was getting all the detail in, and then we kind of let it flow better. Because right now it's very patchy, obviously, because we're all just putting sections in. So looking for a couple of help on a couple of places to finish patching it in, and then I think we want to figure out how to get a better flow for the document. So where I need help is this part here is really some setting functions. I mean, the thought of this paper was, we've got a lot going on. Here's what OCA is trying to do. And I want to kind of have a market motivator. Why now? Why is this interesting? Why is this relevant? So we called it forcing functions in one of our calls. And I thought that was a good term that says, what's going on and why are things, stressing more importance for integration. And then ones I noted was, well, gee, we've got the directive. That was an easy one, very obvious. And the fact that we've got, growing disruption of supply chains and businesses, and now, even political, now in later days, right? Disruptions. So all of that says, we've got to, be more effective in our security practices, and we've got to figure out how to defend these things with all the different capabilities that are at our disposal. So that's kind of one of the forcing functions. Now the other one is I got to do some stuff on 6.2.0. We got some good OpenC2 stuff that was added since the last call, but I'd like to put 6.2.1 in there because it's kind of fundamental that we're using now, right? To give us a model, if you will, to calibrate and adapt proprietary local technologies into one area. And then we've been using it for the threat hunting, for example, for now with the stick shifter and the Kestrel, but I think there's a lot more applicability to 6.2.1. So I wouldn't mind, calling that out a little bit. We've got some evolving standard that started with the threat environment, but we're evolving that out to help us deal with these forcing functions.
So when you say forcing functions, Russ, do you mean macro, like you mentioned a few macro conditionals, and then some discipline specific drivers or projects like with sticks? On the forcing functions, do you want to stay at a macro level and then talk about trends, or is the point of this in the introductory to be, how granular do you want to get, I guess, right?
Yeah, great question, Darryl. So my thought was in this section, just a macro. Down here with the trends, I've had it down over this section. I think here I want to get to, given that for those macro forcing functions, what kind of things are happening in the industry. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you did.
Yeah. Throw it down here. I would local more, right? but I've recognized the three that we have, right? What to me, XDR and Zero Trust are examples of, I guess I'll say industry actions to the complexity and forcing some integrations. XDR in some sense, and Zero Trust even more, right? Both of those to me are integration projects. And then the reason that they're there is they're forced because of the things above us.
Right.
And then I also see lots and lots of acquisitions, which is normal for a market when you've got an explosion of technology. Eventually, and we're doing a lot of that in the security environment. And I think some of that is vendors saying, I need to get a more macro solution than the one I have right now, which is good, and it's given me a foothold, but I need to evolve. So in there, Daryl, if there's probably others, but we could put them in here. It says, given all of that, forcing function of the need for integration, collaboration, the evolution of current standards like accountistics that are giving us a basis. We probably may need new stuff beyond those, but I thought those were good basis ones, right? One for the run books and one for the threat hunter. Then I thought, Daryl, down here we could add, the micro.
Yeah, I like that. I'm actually writing down I'm creating my own. Now that you're saying that, it makes something else make sense to me. Just triggered a thought into me about historical trends.
Yeah.
Then the categories of those trends, like I think of business model, industry, value chains, and then tech dependencies. And so when you roll the clock back 7 decades, these models that were incepted had no idea their dependencies that would develop on technology in less than a century. And then they would go from a scope of, from a revenue gen standpoint or service delivery model, because that includes government, from less than 5% to over 95%. And then how that risk exposure shifted as their dependencies shifted in their business models.
Right.
And then the standards organizations didn't catch up. They came along later. And then most of the things they've done, it seems like they're chasing the tail with regard to trends of adoption. Right. And some of that is evidenced by like best of breed adoption and how that's turned into an aggravated point of disparities and coordination problems. Right.
And I also think, Dal, with that theme you're on there, I think you could tie in, with the business risk. This seems like a really insurmountable, complex problem. How do you focus on it? And you can go back to the business risk discussion. Zero trust to me is an example of that. You can't fix everything all day one. They tell you that right up front. But don't be frustrated or say, "Boy, this is too complicated." Throw up your hands and pray. How about
Right.
how about you focus on, as you're talking about, the business and its risk and the ability to make sure your IT aligns with that business and you secure the most important things. I mean, that's a good theme.
That's right. Yeah, this is very helpful, those categories. Did you posted a link to this here in chat?
Yeah, it's on it's in the chat in the web.
Got it.
You should, just click on it. Yep. It's a shared Google Docs file out there, but yeah, I think that would help. I think that would also help because from my experience in security for the last 7 or 8 years, it is sometimes a discussion of how do I start, how do I focus to deal with these problems now that I acknowledge they exist and I acknowledge I need to do something, and to try and give them an advice on how to best do it, right? And the one thing I want to get out of that obviously is you ought to think about the open approach and the collaborative approach versus the proprietary and/or, as I mentioned last time, the siloed XDR alliances that are being formed, which aren't going to help, but they're not going to be sufficient. So you got to think a little bit better than that in terms of adopt an approach that enables you to attack these problems in a modular way and not a set of problems in one way and another set of problems in another way, because that's kind of where some of this stuff leads if you just look at pieces of it.
Right.
And lessons learned have told us that.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, that would be good if you could pull that in there, Daryl, somewhere.
I'm doing it now.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be great. Okay, any other comments? Okay, and then down here, I got some more stuff. Forrest, I finally put your stuff in. Thanks for resending it. I don't know what happened to it. I know I got your other stuff. I don't know where it went. So I put that in here. I put all the projects in here. I have one more comment from Duncan I got to deal with. So So I'll deal with that. So we got good pace stuff in here. We got the ontology stuff that you sent in here to me, Forrest. And then each of the work groups, I'll work on the zero trust one. I just haven't got to it yet. So that's one that I will do. But the IOB guy sent me stuff. The architecture I referenced here. And then the reference side, I'll take care of that also. It's just pulling some information together. So as I said, stage one is let's just get all these sections filled in, even though it's a little bit, doesn't read well and it doesn't flow well. But, you know, then stage two, and maybe I can get some help from folks that major in English as opposed to math like me, that can help me make it flow better with good themes and focus. Because I think I need that here. But I want to just get the raw material together so that I can get that kind of help. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
Okay, super. Okay, super. So that's kind of all I had on this, guys. I don't have any other material. I mean, I'll open it for discussion. Is there any other, while we're waiting for Dennis to get back, and I'll work on this a little bit more. Is there any other topics from the architecture team's point of view that we ought to start thinking about addressing at this point? Because we probably have time. Because if we don't have time, I'll probably just cancel the next meeting because there won't be enough material to really justify the meeting. This one even only took only 15 minutes. So it won't take us very long to do these edits. And then I'll need some time to do the formatting. So I'm thinking the next meeting won't be ready. But any other topics you guys think are relevant or we ought to address or have been on your mind that it would be nice to have a collaborative discussion in the architecture group on?
Sounds like a no.
Yeah, sounds like it.
General.
Okay.
Sounds like a no.
Yeah.
What do you do with,
I'm glad
what
you
do you do
pointed
with,
out because I don't know what a no sounds like. But that sounds like a
Yeah.
no. You're right.
what do seven smart guys on a Wednesday say when asked the question?
Yeah,
Nothing.
that's right. Hey, that's perfectly fine. I'm not looking for work to do. I'm just trying to make sure if there's anything out there that we need to address that we can start thinking about. But I got you guys. That's perfectly fine with me. So I guess I'll give you guys some time back. Please do, if you haven't looked at the document lately, take one more pass through it. Again, the objective of this pass is just to put information in here that you think will be relevant for the paper, right? Because, you know, as I tried to describe the paper when I'm trying to flow, any points you have that are, you know, help us with that conversation of, you know, why is collaborative more important? Why is that the right way to go? Why now? I mean, why is that something I should take into consideration? And then, you know, the lay of the land of, okay, what is OCA all about and what kinds of things are we doing to address that problem? So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. So please feel free, now that I've given you some time back, maybe you can review it the rest of the hour. That would be cool. And feel free to just edit up, mark it up like Duncan did. You know, if it's a comment, put a comment, and no problem. It's all collaborative out there on the Google document, so it's easy to do. And I'll probably cancel the next meeting unless somebody comes up with something that needs to be done. If when I get this completed, I'll just email the group over our group email, the architecture email, and you'll know that at least I've all the clumps together, and then there'll be a timeout for me to go get some help on the formatting and the flow. Okay, so that's
Great,
it.
Hey, do we have any, hold on.
Yep.
Do we have any endpoint security vendors on the call right now? No.
Yes, IBM.
Well, but I mean, do you work the endpoint security piece?
Yes.
Okay. Is this Daryl?
This is Daryl.
Okay.
Today I'm
Did you see my
Daryl.
call out? Did you see my call out for Representative Data?
I did not, but I can respond if. Did you send this out on OCA?
I sent it out, I sent it out to the PGB distro. I thought I sent it out to Architecture Distro too. I will forward you the college.
Okay,
I just
perfect.
need some representative data of like a file that would be passed from a endpoint security program to a SIEM that would have, you know, what representative data would be passed, some examples of that data.
Yeah. Feed from an EDR.
All right. I will shoot you the note.
Okay.
It's based on the scenario that we've been working. All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Forrest. Thanks for being persistent on it.
All right. Bye.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good,
See you guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.